I am in the wilds of County Leitrim today. I have two routes to walk, two routes that are steeped in local history and folklore, and I have a great guest who's going to shorten the road for us. So while we're going up a mountain, we are going back in time. My name is Doireann Ní Ghlacáin, and this is Tracks and Trails.
Leitrim is situated in the northwest of Ireland in the province of Connacht. It's bordered by 6 counties and has the smallest population of any county in Ireland, which means there's plenty of space for walking. It has the shortest length of coastline of any county that touches the sea at 4.7 kilometres, that's 2.9 miles long. And there are 2 types of landscape here, hilly and mountainous in the northwest of the county and flat in the southeast. I'm walking both today. Leitrim has a rich history since the 13th century, and it's home to many historic sites and one of Ireland's ancient manuscripts. It's at the heart of Irish culture and is well known for its traditional music and rich heritage. I'm walking 2 routes, a 3.7 kilometre round trip to visit a 300-year-old mass rock at Sliabh, Iarainn and Mullaghgarve, which is literally a hidden history in these parts, followed by a 3-kilometre loop around one of Leitrim's famous lakes at Cloone. Bryan Dobson graced Ireland's TV screens for over 20 years. Well known as a newsreader and reporter, he has covered some of Ireland's important historic events and moments, which makes him a perfect companion for this walk.
Hello, Bryan.
Hi, Doireann. How are you?
Great.
Lovely to see you.
And you too.
You're very welcome to County Leitrim and to Sliabh on Iarainn. We're going to walk today to the Mass Rock, which is just below the summit of the mountain. It's the highest mountain in County Leitrim, almost 600 metres, and we're already pretty high up here. As you can see, the wind is blowing quite strongly, but it's a magnificent day. We actually couldn't have a better day for this walk. So, will we get going?
Yes, absolutely. I'm very excited for this now. So tell me, Bryan, what does walking do for you?
Well, it gets me out in the fresh air, it gives me good exercise, and it's also a great way, I think, to ponder things, isn't it? You can work out a lot of life's problems. They don't seem so insurmountable when you're having a good walk and thinking them through, you know. Yeah. So I enjoy that, you know.
I think so. Yeah. What's your connection to this place?
Well, we have a house not too far from here, which we have had for about 20 years. So we come here a lot, and I've done this walk on many occasions over the years. And generally walks around the area. We're on the Leitrim Way, which is another route that runs right past our house. So we can step outside the front door and walk in either direction for as far as we want. It's wonderful. It's a great amenity to have.
You know, I'm totally enamoured by Leitrim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be?
There's great character here, isn't there?
There's great character, great courtesy, the loveliest of people, and it's a hidden secret, really, I think. Yeah.
I think so too, yeah.
I know. I wouldn't be anywhere else.
This route is an easy level trail. It's mostly gravel track, which pulls gently upwards for the entirety of the route.
What I'm struck by is the commute to get up to the Mass Rock for people who, you know, were going to this as their place of worship. How dedicated you would have to be to make this journey.
Yeah, and the determination that they would worship, they would receive Mass.
Yeah.
The fact that the priests were putting, in some cases, their lives at risk.
Totally.
Certainly their liberty in coming out of hiding very often to officiate. So it's very, I suppose it takes us back into a very different Ireland, doesn't it?
Oh my God, absolutely.
You know, of 200 years ago.
Yeah. So Bryan, you're kind of in a new phase now that you have retired from full-time work.
Yeah, plenty of time for walking the hills.
Well, that's great, but how are you finding it?
Oh, it's terrific. I'm enjoying having the time to myself. I have a few projects that I'm involved in, and I like to have a little bit of thing to keep me busy.
Yeah.
But that freedom is wonderful, really.
If I was going to put you under pressure now, what do you think is a career highlight that you had?
Oh, I think the Good Friday Agreement, which was in 1998, was definitely certainly among the highlights. It was in South Africa in 1994 for the election of Nelson Mandela. What I liked about journalism was the freedom to ask people questions, and the fact that people would answer your questions. They would let you into their lives. They would tell you what they think about things. They would open up to you, perhaps in a way that they mightn't just in other circumstances. So this was an area of ore mining, because this is the Iron Mountain, so there's iron in the rocks. And for, I think, something over 100 years, until the late 18th century, ore was taken from here, brought to Ballinamore and to Drumshanbo, and it was smelted there. And the industry eventually collapsed because the forest went. It was wood, it was charcoal that was needed for the smelting. And when all the trees were cut down, there was no fuel. And that was the end of the iron ore industry. If it had continued, we'd be standing in a very different landscape now, I think, wouldn't we? You know, we'd be looking at mines and ironworks and towns and people, and instead we're on this empty mountainside.
Yeah, I think I prefer the landscape around us now, but that is fascinating, the industry that was here. We're really getting into the nitty-gritty of it now, Brian.
It's getting a bit drier, that's the nice thing about it.
Well, that's very true. So foreboding, isn't it?
Yeah, these cliffs. Very typical kind of geology of this area.
It's epic.
Yeah. So we're nearly there, Doireann, just up this last bit that they couldn't be seen. So there's the altar. It's completely hidden. You don't really see it until the very last moment, until you just turn the corner there.
I feel like I've entered a portal into another world or something here.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly very atmospheric, and you can imagine the priests gathered here, people who've come across the mountain to hear Mass.
Absolutely. Do you know much about the Mass Rock here, Brian?
Not much is known about what took place here. Really, it's the lore, I suppose. This is a place where Mass was said during penal times, and there are very many of these around the country. And you can see why it would be a place that secretly Mass would have taken place, because it's completely hidden. You only see it when you come to the very last few steps there and we turn the corner. But the local lore is that Mass was said here by priests who would have been hiding in the area. So they've been living in caves, and there are a number of caves in the immediate vicinity. They'd come here, they'd say Mass, and people would come from the countryside around to receive Mass.
There's a really famous song in the Shannon singing tradition called Doireann Ní Ghlacáin, and it was a code. So people would sing this song at a gathering, and they'd pose the question, Doireann Ní Ghlacáin, avacatú hain machra, avacatú gilligus, finnig skev them law, and they would pose a question, were you at the rock?
Yes.
Did you see my bright love? Did you see, this beautiful woman? And then depending on the next verse would be, vi me ag an charig, chonig me hain de gra, or ní ra me ag an charig, ní aca me de gra, and that's how they would communicate to each other secretly.
Yes.
There's going to be a Mass on the next day at the Mass Rock, and it was this secret code amongst the community.
And this feels like a secret place, doesn't it? When we're in here, the location tells you the dedication people had, the determination they had to come here and
the faith.
Yeah.
The faith, yeah.
And of course the view is just fantastic, second to none, and we can see where we're going next to Doireann. We're going to Cloone.
The village of Cloone is about 40 minutes drive away, heading south towards County Longford. It's a different landscape, flatter but with just as rich a heritage.
I think of it as John McGahern country. Yeah, the novelist. A lot of his stories are set here. This is the part of Leitrim that he grew up in and lived in as a child. And I think also, a bit like the characters in the McGahern stories, it's a landscape that reveals itself bit by bit, slowly. We turn a corner as we are now, and what do we see? A lake. We come around another bend and there's a little hill or something in front of us. So it's a landscape that's constantly changing, constantly surprising us, I suppose. That's what I love about this, particularly this part of Leitrim. Isn't this just delightful?
Oh, it's absolutely magnificent. It is just out of a John McGahern novel.
You can imagine some of his characters just coming down the path towards us here.
Completely.
And there's so many of these lakes right across County Leitrim. It's very much a feature of the landscape here. The reeds that come right down to the water's edge. That sometimes you might see a swan or some other bird life in the lake, and it's so peaceful. So there's kind of serenity, isn't there? And then you can hear the birds in the background. And occasionally you might see somebody rowing out and doing a bit of fishing and seeing if they can catch something. This is tough land to make a living on. It's challenging land to farm. And I think back of the families who would have lived on this land, maybe a very small holding, trying to grow some, crops as well, maybe keep a few animals. It's hard work.
It is hard work, but I suppose, what?
it lends itself to a different kind of a richness. You know, they often say that where the land is bad, I'm not saying the land is bad, but where the land is difficult to farm, the music is good.
Right, okay.
So, and this is an area synonymous with traditional music, I mean, and the stories and the folklore, and you know, they still have a very strong tradition here of the mummers and the dancing.
Yes, I've
and
seen them, The rambling house, is that what they call them?
The rambling houses, that's
yeah.
it. So I suppose, it lends itself to a different kind of a cultural landscape then when it is such backbreaking work, you know, to work the land.
What have we got here now? We've got a little archway and an entrance too. Oh, so it's a crannog. Okay, let's go and have a look. Oh, look at this.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
This is a Sally hut, I think. It's living plants in the ground and they're starting to sprout. I suppose it'll become a whole canopy of leaves when it matures. It'll be wonderful.
Fantastic. Yeah. The Sally is a great great tree. It's always been associated with lovers, would you believe, in folklore.
Oh,
all the lovers always used to meet under the Sally tree in all the songs, you know.
Oh, listen, let's head back where we have a final look at the lake.
Okie doke.
What a wonderful way to end the day.
Oh, I tell you, Leitrim has a lot to offer, Bryan. It was a fantastic day from start to finish.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that. I'm delighted you enjoyed the day, and I had a fantastic day as well. This is just quite splendid. The sun drifting down there towards the horizon, the light on the water, absolutely magical.
Well, if I was to put you under pressure now and ask you what your highlight of the day was.
It's your company, Doireann.
Oh.
That's got to be it. And that's what walking very often is about. I mean, it's nice to walk on your own sometimes, but really to have company and to engage with, that human contact as you put the miles onto you. So
it was an epic day.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the last verse of the poem, the 8th poem, Lake Isle of Innisfree. I don't know if you know it. It's I will arise and go now, for always night and day I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. While I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's grey, I hear it in the deep heart's core.
If you enjoy the show, email us or connect on social media and tell us your story. We'd love to hear about your tracks and trails, especially if it's influenced you in any way. Has it got you out walking? What did it do for you? What were the benefits? Your feedback could inspire our next show.